2017 was a great year for smartphones. However, all the smartphones were so future-packed that there was one question that always reeled in people's minds. What next for smartphones? And at a time when these four words begged for an answer, Samsung came up with the Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. I have used these devices for almost a month now, and first let's talk about the things that I do like on the Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. The best feature on these two devices is surely the rear-facing camera, and this is the area where there is a difference as well. The dual rear-facing camera on the S9 Plus has enabled it to capture live focus pictures, also known as portrait shots. The live focus mode does a well enough job to blur out the background, but there is still work to be done as it still isn't on the iPhone X's portrait mode level, as you can see from this comparison shot. But Samsung has included a unique feature which lets users change the amount of blur before or after capturing the image, which is certainly useful. One similarity both phones hold is a camera with a changeable aperture. The S9 and S9 Plus now come with a camera that tries to adapt to its surroundings. Now, these features can be the next big thing on smartphones, but as a normal user, I did not notice much of a difference. Yes, the pictures are sharper during night with the focal 2.4 aperture, but will you notice a huge difference? I think not. Let's compare the camera of the S9 Plus with the iPhone X, which is its direct competitor, as other flagships like the Google Pixel 2, LG V30 and Huawei P20 Pro have not made their way in Nepal. One thing I noticed during the comparison was that the images from the S9 Plus have a slight pinkish tint to them. This is seen on the images with a white object and more clearly on some nighttime shots. The iPhone samples meanwhile have a warmer tone. Now, apart from the exposure level that iPhone's camera can hold, I think the S9 Plus holds a little edge on every other aspect. Yes, the images from the Galaxy S9 Plus is a bit oversaturated sometimes, but it captures in a whole lot of details which I viewed when I zoomed into the images. And the night light shone better on the Samsung flagship as there was more details on the S9 Plus with proper noise control and exposure level. However, the pinkish tint that I talked about before was clearly visible in some of the night shots. In terms of video quality, well, see it for yourself. The smartphone stabilizes the videos well in full HD setting, it captures ample details and the colors pop out nicely as well. However, the field of view slightly decreases when you toggle the video capture button. Under low light, the videos definitely live up to the flagship tag, but it has a touch of noise here and there. The slow motion and super slow motion videos are a whole another story, so I will be talking about them later in the video. The next thing that I like on the S9 and S9 Plus is the display with minimum bezels on the top and bottom. Well, talking about the quality of display, let's just say it has the best display in the business right now. The ample vibrancy and saturation the panel provides comes second to none as there are lots of details and colors while viewing contents on the device. There are only a handful of flagships currently available in Nepal, and the S9 could house the best display on any smartphone for months to come. Now, there's a reason why I am drawn towards the S9, and that is the insurance that the company is currently providing on its smartphones. The build of the Samsung has made it quite slippery, and I did happen to drop it once hard on the display. I thought the insurance was free because of the breakage insurance, but I had to pay a sum of Rs 6,000. I think it is okay because it would generally cost a lot of money, so kudos to Samsung. Now, I know that the Samsung Galaxy S9 is the best designed smartphone right now, but in comparison to last year's S8, there are only a couple of subtle changes that have happened. So that begs a question, is these subtle updates worth the premium price you're paying for it? Well, I will let you be the judge. Let us know in the comment section below on whether you think the S9's design change is worth the pricing. The IP68 dust and water resistance is certainly a major plus if you want to take your smartphone for a dip sometimes. The thin film for water resistance also protects the speakers, which are now AKG tuned. Well, as compared to Samsung's previous flagships, the dual speakers have certainly gotten better. However, if we compare the sound with the iPhone X, the Apple flagship certainly sounds better. The dual stereo speakers are a plus, but with AKG also working together, I had expected something better. The next thing that I like about these two devices is the performance. The S9 and S9 Plus come in two chipset variants, which is the Snapdragon SoC and the Exynos SoC. The one that comes in Nepal is with the Exynos chipset. Well, performance-wise, Samsung still has a lot to do against Apple's A series chipset, as the iPhone X certainly outperforms the S9 and S9 Plus, and that is also seen on the benchmark results. Now, you might be wondering, if that is really the case, then why have we added the performance among the things that I like about the device? Well, that's because these two devices can handle all your multitasking needs without dropping a sweat. Gaming is a fun experience, as you can expect a lag-free performance all the time. However, after long sessions of gaming, navigating through the internet and using the camera, they tend to get warm at times, but that's nothing to worry about. Now that I have gotten through the positives of the S9 and S9 Plus, I will be talking about the things that were not my cup of tea. The first thing that Samsung needs to work heavily is on the battery. Backing up a tall and top quality display is not easy, and that is clearly seen in the battery life, as the S9 gives around 4 hours of screen on time while the S9 Plus provides 4.5 hours. For a flagship smartphone worth a fortune, I have to say that the battery number does not do enough justice. There is fast charging enabled on the devices, but still, for a flagship smartphone to run just for 4 hours, that's only average. This battery life issue is even seen on endurance ratings while comparing with the battery of other smartphones. Dear smartphone manufacturers, I think it's high time that you consider including a larger battery on your smartphones. We are currently at a time when the mid-range smartphones are focusing heavily on the selfie cameras, and even being a flagship smartphone, the S9 does not have a top-notch selfie camera. Take these two samples as an example. The sample image from the mid-range Vivo V9 certainly stands out against the one from the S9. Yes, the selfies are of good quality, but are they the best? Certainly not. And while we are at it, let's talk about the AR emoji feature, which is Samsung's answer to Apple's Animoji. Although emoji frying yourself sounds fun, but AR emoji feature is raw and unfinished, which I noticed right after I used it. The device could not read what I was doing, as in the emoji could not correctly emulate my expressions. And while I tried it a few times, it did not fascinate me for too long. Hopefully, Samsung will listen to its customers just like it had listened by placing the fingerprint scanner below the camera setup. Samsung has boasted its slow motion feature that captures video at 960 FPS in HD quality. At first, I really enjoyed using this feature as it nails slowing down the shots, but then I realized how the videos lacked quality. They lack saturation, sharpness, and details, and you won't like what it produces at night light. Toggling on the super slow-mo tab, you will realize how the smartphone decreases the exposure noticeably. This same issue is also seen on 240 FPS slow-mo, which reduces the exposure by a level. Also, the slow-mo videos slow down for just around 2 seconds, which is a lot less time. The software on these devices are easy to use, as the Experience UI has become lighter and lag-free over the years. Now, you can indeed remove some of the applications like Samsung Gear or Voice Recorder, but there are lots of other applications which are just eating up the space on these devices. It would have been very appreciable if Samsung gave its users the freedom, but, well. When you use the S9, you will constantly be pushed to use Bixby, be it with a dedicated button or while swiping left. Whenever by mistake I swipe left and get to Bixby, I scroll down and search for something interesting, but anyways. I have completely disabled the dedicated Bixby button, but the thing that I don't like here is the lack of option to program the button as per your need. Now, there are some extra features which could be a negative or a positive, which depends on the users themselves. This time, the Samsung flagships have combined facial recognition with iris scanning technology for security purpose. While this sounds interesting, this feature can't really unlock the smartphones in a jiffy like the fingerprint scanner. The fingerprint scanner, which has been engraved on the right place this time, is adaptive, and the unlock feature is faster than the intelligent scan. The S9 also has the basic flagship features such as the heart rate, stress, and oxygen saturation. These features could be useful for someone who is into monitoring their day-to-day health stats, while some might even feel that these components are taking up the space where Samsung Cloud have included a bigger size battery. So, my final words for the Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus would be that they are the best options available for flagship smartphones in Nepal right now. While the iPhone X is a direct competitor, it is a bit too expensive. The Huawei Mate 10 Pro has begun to lose its charm, and the Huawei P20 Pro has not yet launched in Nepal. So if you're not a Samsung fan, you only have the iPhone X as an option for you. But considering the good performance, the display, the cameras, and the insurance policy, I see the Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus as the finest options for flagship Android smartphones in Nepal. So that is all for the review. Tell us what you think about the S9 and S9 Plus in the comment section below. I am Pratima Adhikari, and I'll see you next time.